Hi students, welcome to yet another session of my class. We are discussing the paper Word Classics. Let us continue the topic. Today we are going to discuss about Greek literature and Roman literature. What do you mean by Greek literature or how can we explain it? The name Greece comes from the Latin Grecia, which in turn comes from the Greek word Grekoi, the original name of the people living in Dodona. Yes, the name Greece comes from the Latin Graecia, which in turn comes from the Greek word Grekoi. Grekoi, this is the original name of the people living in Dodona. Moreover, the word is used to address people living in Greece. That's why it is called Greek literature. Yes, the word is used to address people living in Greece, their culture, their art forms, sculpture, architecture, etc. So the original Greek name was and still is Hellas, the land of the Hellenes. That is the original name. The original Greek name was and still is Hellas. That is the land of the Hellenes. Greek literature dates back from the ancient Greek literature that is beginning in 800 BC to the modern Greek literature of today. And Greek literature was written in an ancient Greek dialect. That is, literature ranges from the oldest surviving written works until works from approximately the 5th century AD. That is the time period that is considering as the major time period, that is the Greek literature. It ranges from the oldest surviving written works until works from approximately the 5th century AD. And this time is divided into three distinct periods. Which are the three distinct periods? They are archaic or pre-classical period, classical period, and Hellenistic. And literature and theatre was an important aspect of Greek culture, and it influenced the modern drama very much. And the Greeks were known for their sophisticated sculpture and architecture. So their culture, that is influences from their art and culture, have made a great impact on the European and American culture. That is, these Greeks where they were known for their sophisticated sculpture, art, uh, architecture, etc. And it have made a, it has, yes, these influences, that is this their sophisticated sculpture, architecture, culture that have made a great impact on the American, that is other cultures like American and European culture. Their highly organized society, then their system of justice, and of course their art, sculptures, statues, plays and mythology have been a major source of inspiration. The term Greek literature means, that is the term, it is associated with all these things, that is their culture, then sculpture, statues, plays, mythology, then their great culture, everything that is associated with the Greek literature, and that have been a major source of inspiration for other different cultures like European, American, Roman, etc. Then studying Greek literature would always lead one to the study and understanding of its mythology. We all know that this Greek literature is closely associated with the Greek mythology. So studying Greek literature means it would always lead one to the study of Greek mythology. So when we study Greek literature means we are studying or we are trying to understand the mythology of Greek culture. One would have to familiarize himself with the uniqueness of its gods and goddesses. Is through this Greek literature or through this Greek mythology, one would have to familiarize with their gods, deity, goddesses, etc. And the Greek mythological gods and goddesses are made out of their own image. It is very different from the Egyptians and the others. And they were believed to be the controller of the life of human beings. That is their, yes, this the Greek mythological gods and goddesses were made out of their own image, and they were believed to be the controller of the life of human beings. At the beginning of Greek literature, yes, stand the two monumental works of Homer. Homer, the important literary figures in classical literature. Homer is closely associated with the Greek literature. So at the beginning of Greek literature stand the two monumental works of Homer, which are the two great works by Homer. One is Iliad and the other one is Odyssey. And moreover, this Greek culture influenced the Roman Empire and many other civilizations, and it continues to influence modern cultures today. That is the importance of Greek culture. It is one of the ancient cultures that is existing and still existing in classical literature. And it influenced the Roman Empire and many other civilizations, like other cultures like this European, American, etc. And it continues to influence modern cultures today. And their culture, art, sculpture, architecture, everything, it is important and influenced a lot. I think all of you understand regarding Greek literature. Next, we are going to discuss about Roman literature. What do you mean by this Roman literature? A Roman literature written in the Latin languages. Basically, this Roman literature, it was written in the language Latin, and it remains an enduring legacy of the culture of ancient Rome. Yes, Roman literature is closely associated with the country Rome, and it remains an enduring. This Roman literature remains an enduring, that is everlasting legacy of the culture of ancient Rome. It projected the culture of ancient Rome. The Romans were certainly composing many types of writing prior to 240 BC. They were writing complex formal law codes, contracts, and treaties. And some of the earliest extant works are historical epics, telling of the early military history of Rome, and followed by poetry, comedies, histories, and tragedies. Yes, that is the earliest extant works are historical epics that telling of the early military history of Rome, and it is followed by poetry, comedies, histories, and tragedies. And the Romans wrote a lot of poetry and made a lot of formal speeches. And they were also composing more personal and quotidian writings such as calendars, graffiti, tombstone inscriptions, and songs. And there were also some written works that recorded italic stories and histories. Then Latin was the main language used for writing during ancient Rome. They were also composing, that is, I already told you, more personal and quotidian writings. And some of the important Roman writers were Plautus, Catullus, Cicero, Virgil, etc. So, once again I repeat, some of the important and famous Roman writers were Plautus, Catullus, Cicero, and Virgil. I think all of you are familiar with the Greek literature as well as Roman literature. Next, we are going to discuss about Homer as one of the famous Greek figures in, yes, classical literature. Homer, his name is closely associated with the Greek literature, one of the important figures in Greek literature. So Homer is perhaps the greatest of all epic poets and his legendary status was well established by the time of classical Athens. He composed two major works. I already told you, that is two monumental works of Homer. Which are they? One is the Iliad and the other one is Odyssey. In conjunction with the Hesiod. Hesiod is another important figure in literature. So, uh, uh, with the Hesiod, Homer acts as a great pool of information for the Greeks about their gods. That is, through his writings, he is trying to express that Greek culture, and moreover he is through his writings he expresses that Greek mythology. He expressed Greek mythology in the sense here means that is uh, information regarding their gods and goddesses. So along with the Hesiod, or in conjunction with the Hesiod, that is in combination, that is joining with the Hesiod, Homer acts as a great pool of information for the Greeks about their gods. Through his writings, the people of Greece, they try to understand about their deity, gods, goddesses, that is the Greek mythology. They are tried to understand through through his writings. The poems are in Homeric Greek, also known as Epic Greek. The poems are in Homeric Greek and also known as Epic Greek, a literary language which shows a mixture of features of the Ionic and Aeolic dialects. He used, yes, the combination of two dialects, that is Ionic and Aeolic dialects. So, the poems are in Homeric Greek and it is otherwise called Epic Greek, a literary language. This Epic Greek is a literary language that shows a mixture of features of the Ionic and Aeolic dialects from different centuries. And the Homeric epics were the greatest influence on ancient Greek culture and education. Yes, the Homeric epics were the greatest influence on ancient Greek culture and education. To Plato, Homer was simply the one who has taught Greece. According to Plato, Homer was simply the one who has taught the Greece. Yes. I think all of you understand about Homer, one of the important literary figures in Greek literature. And he is considered as the greatest of all epic poets. And his two important and the major work, which are the works that has written by Homer, that is Iliad and the Odyssey. Then his language, that is Epic Greek. Literary language is a mixture of features of the Ionic and Aeolic dialects. Then the Homeric epics were the greatest influence on ancient Greek culture and education. It is important because short questions for 2 marks and for 4 marks, it is important. Sometimes questions may be asked from this area, that is for 2 marks as well as 4 marks. No essay questions will be asked from the first module, but 2-mark questions and 4-mark questions will be asked from this area, that is in the first module. So, study well. It is Homer questions for 2 mark and for 4 mark it is important. Then, next one is Iliad. Iliad is one of the famous works written by Homer. The Iliad is an ancient Greek epic poem and sometimes referred to as the Song of Ilium. Ilium is a place. The Iliad is an ancient Greek epic poem and sometimes it is referred to as the Song of Ilium. Ilium is a place. And it is composed of 15,693 hexameters. Hexameters, the lines of verse. Yes, it is composed of 15,693 hexameters and is divided into 24 books because it is a epic poem. Iliad is an epic poem. What do you mean by epic? It's a lengthy poem and is divided into 24 books corresponding to each letter of the Greek alphabet, that is alpha to omega. This particular epic poem, it is divided into 24 books corresponding to each letter of the Greek alphabet. That is like English alphabet A to Z. This 24 books is this epic poem is divided into 24 books corresponding to each letter of the Greek alphabet from alpha to omega, a system that was already in place by the time of Herodotus. And what is its storyline? The Iliad traces the anger of Achilles and takes place over 51 days during the 10th and final year of the Trojan War. Yes, the Iliad, it is associated with the Trojan War. And the Iliad traces the anger of the hero, that is Achilles, and takes place over 51 days during the 10th and final year of the Trojan War. The poem takes its name from the city of Troy, which is also known as Ilium. That's why it is otherwise called a Song of Ilium, because the poem takes its name from the city of Troy. And this Troy, sometimes it is known as Ilium. That's why it is referred to as the Song of Ilium, because it traces the anger of Achilles and that Trojan War. That is the 10th and final year of the Trojan War. I think all of you understand about Iliad. Odyssey, another important work by or epic poem by Homer. The Odyssey is an epic poem and is considered as one of the oldest extant works of literature. It is another epic poem by Homer and it is composed of 12,109 hexameter lines, and it is also same like Iliad. It is also divided into 24 books in the same manner as the Iliad. And whereas war and anger were the themes of the Iliad, that is, I already told you that the storyline of the Iliad traces the anger of Achilles. So whereas war and also that Iliad depicts the war of Troy. So, war and anger were the themes of Iliad. The Odyssey takes place after the Trojan War. That is the difference in the case of storyline. That is, Iliad traces the war and anger of Achilles as well as the war of Troy. Whereas war and anger were the themes of the Iliad. The Odyssey takes place after the Trojan War that has been won by the Achaeans. Achaeans, as the Greeks are referred to by Homer. Achaeans means these Greeks. That is, Greeks are referred to by Homer as Achaeans. So, this war and anger were the main themes of Iliad. But Odyssey, it takes place after the Trojan War that has been won by the Achaeans. And the Odyssey is concerned with the Nostos. Yes, then what is its storyline or what is it about, this Odyssey? The Odyssey is concerned with the Nostos, or otherwise called Nostos means journey. So the Odyssey is concerned with the Nostos or journey of the Greek hero Odysseus. The Odyssey is concerned with the Nostos of the Greek hero Odysseus. That is the journey of the Greek hero Odysseus and the troubles that he faces on his way home from Troy. That means it depicts it takes place after the Trojan War. And so it is concerned with the journey of the hero, Greek hero Odysseus and the troubles that he faces on his way home from Troy, foiled on his way by godly interventions, especially those of Poseidon. Then, some of the important highlights regarding the story of Odyssey, that it includes Odysseus' famous encounters with the sirens, with the Cyclops Polyphemus, and the slaying of his wife Penelope's suitors upon his return to Ithaca. Ithaca is his home place, and it is concerned with the nostalgic journey of the hero. That means after the Trojan War. Yes, that is, it takes place, this Odyssey, it takes place after the Trojan War that has been won by the Achaeans or the Greeks. And it is concerned with the journey of the hero Odysseus and the trouble that he faces on his way to home from Troy. And in between he faced so many obstacles, difficulties, encounters, etc. That is explaining or highlighting in this particular epic poem, that it highlights or it includes Odysseus' famous encounters with the sirens and the Cyclops Polyphemus and the slaying of his wife Penelope's suitors upon his return to Ithaca. This Penelope is a wife of Odysseus. Yes, Penelope is a wife of Odysseus, and the slaying of his wife's Penelope's suitors upon his return to Ithaca. Ithaca is his home place. This is the storyline of Odyssey. So, two major epic poems written by Homer. Which are they? That is Iliad and Odyssey. I think all of you are familiar with these two important epic poems by Homer. For Homer question, it is important. You should write about Homer and the two important poem, that is Iliad and Odyssey. For 2 mark question, yes, write about Homer. Then just mention Iliad and Odyssey. It is important for university exam. So please note this session, and I think all of you understand this session. And students, there is a homework for you, and the homework is write about Greek literature, Roman literature, Homer and his important epic poems. Write your homework and send back to me. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you again.